Welcome to 13. Let's go. This week we are talking about DoorDash. Hands down the shadiest and the most scumbaggery platform out there for gig apps. And I know a lot of people count on DoorDash for a big portion of their earnings, if not solely inclusive. But I have 17 pages here of handwritten notes that I turned into what will be today's 13. We're going to start off, we're going to roll back the clock to 2019. Real quickly, 2019, delivery platforms around, well, we'll stick with the United States at least, but worldwide, but nationwide especially, delivery platforms were barely doing any volume and any business at all. Uber, through the Uber Rideshare platform, had launched Uber Eats. Grubhub was the only transparent one pre-pandemic. And DoorDash was just in its infancy. It was a baby. But none of the platforms were seeing much volume. And if anything, Grubhub was probably seeing the most. And at the time, again, they were the most transparent. So DoorDash was the new, the unknown, the dark horse. Now let's move to 2020, March 29th of 2020 to be specific. The CARES Act went into effect. Stay-at-home orders were put in place. And within the course of 5-6 days, we went from all the volume being on rideshare and almost none on delivery to a complete flip. Delivery went through the roof. Rideshare didn't just go down in volume. It basically went to zero. Everybody was on stay-at-home orders. I mean, there were very few people trying to get around in those early days. Now, I know that as the year progressed, many people were working from home, went back to work, started working the platforms, all this, but I'm talking about right then and there, because we had never seen that in the country or the world before, seen everything shut down, not in our lifetimes. So 2020, so after the rideshare volume died, the first few months of the pandemic, DoorDash actually jumped ahead by launching all kinds of incentives, sign-up programs, whatever you could do that we've seen on all the gig apps. DoorDash was doing it to the utmost. What they were trying to do was overpopulate the platforms, which is what all the platforms like to do. During the calendar year 2020, from that March point when all of the delivery platforms took off, DoorDash onboarded more than any other platform out there. They were onboarding crazy. They found the more drivers were on, the faster customers got their order. Makes sense, right? But they also found a detail that became one of the biggest hindrances and one of the biggest evil things this company has ever done. They found that the more drivers on at a single time, the more details they could hide. Well, it's important at this time that we discuss illegal activities on the DoorDash platform that they executed then and still to this day execute, if not even as badly as 2020, it's gotten much worse. So a dispatch platform can pass along transparent orders to drivers. What DoorDash did was not and is not legal. If a platform has all of the order details, tip, pickup, drop off, distance, if they have that information, they have to present it to the independent contractor. It's a must. It's a must in every state law. If the platform does not pass along all of the details that they have, then they are exercising control. If they are exercising control, it is very simply said, you cannot be an independent contractor. This is every state, you guys. And we've been kind of, every state's been kind of beating around the bush with this. But here we are. And 2020, enter Perah. In 2020 and in 2021, Perah tip transparency provided all of the details that DoorDash decided to hide from drivers. The complete tip, the complete amount, the distance, all of the details you needed as an independent contractor to make an informed decision and one that could be profitable to you and again, you are owed that. A lot of you don't have experience in the independent contractor space prior to gig apps. And I'm telling you, this is something that every state, go look into your own state. The independent contractor law it's a little bit rigid because these are the musts. And yet a TOS does not trump a state law, not even close. So both times that Perah TT was operating, drivers were seeing all of the details in pay. DoorDash began to build out the anti-transparency team for engineering. They were working on putting more people on the engineering side of the coding than they were on the coding of the app itself. They were making sure that what Perah was doing, for example, was not, they were hiring however many people they had to hire to make sure that that data was not being scraped, because they wanted to make sure they held that as their weaponization against an oversaturated market. In both instances, Perah was served a cease and desist, and both times fought it. The second time, fought it a little heavier. Now, did Perah win against DoorDash? No, but did it expose a lot of things to a lot of people who don't drive but who are in this gig space? Yes. It was a big hindrance, or else DoorDash wouldn't have taken the time to do it. In early 2021, DoorDash Blackbox operations became their biggest asset and most protected part of the algorithm. We always talk about the algorithm. The most protected part is the black box, which is exactly what it's doing and why it's hiding things and why it's manipulating. 2022 to present, DoorDash continues to break independent contractor laws in every single state in the country. In fact, it has gotten much worse, much worse. Acceptance rate, tier programs, top dasher priority status, scheduling, deactivations. These are all terms synonymous with W-2 employment models. These are not terms used in the independent contractor world. And it's very important that we do focus on this term independent contractor, because they do. They absolutely do. In all of their, everything they write, they claim us to be independent contractors. Yet most of these TOSs are kind of very cleverly worded that you're not. You know, I mean, clearly this is why we're talking about DoorDash today, because tier programs, top dash, this cannot be a thing. That does not exist in the independent contractor world. Can't do that. So here we are in 2024. We enter an election year. We're in it. We're in the cycle now too, big time. We're in the final months before leading up to November. And that has gotten all of the gig apps under a major microscope with legislation and regulation. Did we want it to come to this? No. Will this have bad effects? Absolutely. Oversaturation has been an issue for years. Oversaturating markets. The platforms are able to reduce driver pay. We all should know this. Illegal accounts have become a norm of DoorDash and others. Even migrant illegal accounts are obtained for pennies on the dollar. Deactivation. The reason we do not see why drivers are deactivated, I'm going to put this very simply for everybody, because we always are talking about this, but there's a very simple reason, you guys. I made a video on 13 a few weeks back called deactivation, or deactivated. Okay, well, if DoorDash sends you an email and says you were deactivated on this date for this reason, I think we're all on the same page to say that you have been fired. A deactivation with reason would be termination. Termination is not a term that you can use in the independent contractor landscape. So if they were to put it in writing, it makes it much worse than the laws they're already breaking in every single state. I want to keep saying that. Every single state. There's not even one exception. Not one. Every single state has independent contractor law. And the way that they're skirt tailing these labor laws is putting all of us in jeopardy. It's putting the restaurants have had it, the customers have had it, the drivers have had it. I've never seen a business model treat the customers bad, the vendors bad, the restaurants. The drivers, maybe we've seen that kind of thing before, but treating your customers like crap, passing along crappy fees and regulatory fees, and making sure that the fingers point at the city, not at the platform who's doing it. All of these things are ridiculous. So if DoorDash sent that email, though, you would have in writing why you were deactivated. If you had that, that's a whole nother level of violating state independent contractor law. So now what? This week's 13 is the problem. Next week, the conclusion will be the possible solutions that are being implemented by states. I mean, are the regulations and everything we're going to see, are they in legislation, are they all aligned with what we want? No. In fact, most of them are pitfalls and traps. And that's what we're going to talk about next week. We're going to talk about the possible solutions being implemented, or not even possible, the ones that already are implemented, the ones that already have effective dates that are already implemented, that are kind of being done behind the scenes, but they're already done. They're already signed into laws. There's many of you live in states where gig work law has new law now, but you don't even know about it yet. So we're going to get into that next week, because the solution might not be great, but it's there, it's real, and we need to address it. But we also need to get ahead of things and start really realizing that we do have a power that they try and take away from us all the time. And we have to find a way to, I hate to use this term, but we have to find a way to ourselves weaponize it back against them. That's what Perah was doing. And that's what we need to continue that legacy on, because this platform can't continue to operate this way. It will fail with time. And that's 13 minutes of gig news in just under 13 minutes. Peace, y'all.